Has your cat ever been licking your hand, completely calm, completely sweet, and then out of nowhere, they bite you? No warning, no hiss, just lick, 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 and then teeth. Most people jerk their hand away. Some laugh it off. Some get genuinely confused and start wondering if their cat actually likes them at all. But here's what nobody tells you. That lick then bite combo is one of the most misunderstood things a cat can do. And your cat isn't being random. They're not being aggressive. They're not playing. They're telling you something very specific. And depending on what's behind it, that little bite could mean something so deep it might change the way you see every interaction you've ever had with your cat. Let's start with the one that catches everyone off guard. 1. They're saying, "I love you, but that's enough." Ever been sitting with your cat, petting them, everything is peaceful and they start licking your hand? So you keep petting because it feels like a bonding moment. And then suddenly their mouth closes around your finger and you're left staring at them like, what just happened? Here's what happened. Your cat hit their limit, and they told you twice. The first time was the lick. In feline body language, licking is a grooming behavior. When your cat licks you, they're treating you like another cat they're bonded with. It's affectionate, it's intimate, but it also comes from a place of control. They're grooming you on their terms. The second signal was the bite, but that bite wasn't aggression, it was a boundary. Veterinary behaviorists call this petting-induced overstimulation. A study from the University of Lincoln found that cats have a sensory threshold for physical contact that varies from cat to cat, but is remarkably consistent within each individual. Once that threshold is crossed, the cat's nervous system flips from pleasure to discomfort in a matter of seconds. Your cat wasn't angry. They weren't being unpredictable. They gave you the green light with the lick and then set a boundary with the bite. The problem is that most owners don't read the lick as the beginning of a countdown. And here's what makes this even more important. If you pull away aggressively, yell, or push your cat off after that bite, you've just punished them for communicating. And a cat who gets punished for setting boundaries eventually stops setting them. They don't get nicer. They just disappear. But that's only the first layer, because sometimes the lick to bite has nothing to do with overstimulation. Sometimes it means something far more primal. And what your cat is really doing in those moments goes back thousands of years. We'll get to that one near the end, and honestly, it might be the most fascinating thing in this entire video. 2. They're grooming you like family and correcting you at the same time. Have you ever watched two cats who are bonded groom each other? It starts gentle. One cat licks the other's head, their ears, the back of their neck. It looks peaceful. And then, suddenly, one of them bites. Not hard, not violent, just a firm, quick nip. The other cat doesn't freak out. They don't run away. They barely react. Because in cat language, that bite is part of the grooming. This behavior is called allo-grooming, and it's one of the most important social interactions in feline groups. Researchers studying feral cat colonies found that grooming between bonded cats almost always includes occasional nips and soft bites. The bites serve a function. They help remove tangles, debris, or parasites that licking alone can't handle. But they also communicate dominance and social positioning within the bond. When your cat licks you and then bites you, they might be running the exact same program. They're not switching from love to aggression. They're doing both at the same time. Because in their world, grooming includes correction. That little nip after the lick is your cat saying, "You're mine. I'm taking care of you, but I'm also in charge of this interaction." A study published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats who engaged in allo-grooming with their owners, including the lick-bite sequence, tended to have stronger attachment bonds than cats who only licked or only bit. So before you pull away, consider this. Your cat isn't confused. They're not glitching between two emotions. They're treating you exactly the way they'd treat their closest companion in the wild. And in the world of cats, being groomed and corrected at the same time is one of the highest honors you can receive. 3. They're testing your pain response. This one sounds strange, but stay with me. Have you ever noticed that after your cat bites you, they pause and look directly at your face? Not running away, not licking again, just watching you, studying your reaction. That's not guilt, that's data collection. Cats are incredibly intelligent observers of cause and effect, and when they bite you, even gently, they're learning something about you based on how you respond. Do you flinch? Do you pull away fast? Do you yelp? Do you stay calm? Every single one of those responses teaches your cat something different about your sensitivity, your trust, and your predictability. And over time, they calibrate their behavior based on what they've learned. Research from the University of Tokyo found that cats form mental models of their owners based on repeated interactions. They don't just react to the current moment, they build expectations about how you'll respond, and they adjust accordingly. That means the bite after the lick isn't random. Your cat is running a small experiment. They're asking, how much pressure can I use before this person changes? How safe is it to be myself around them? If you respond calmly and don't overreact, your cat learns that you're stable, that you can handle their full range of expression without becoming a threat. And that actually deepens the trust between you. But if you yell, flick their nose, or shove them away, they learn something very different. They learn that you can't be trusted with honesty, and the next time they feel something, they won't tell you. They'll just leave. And hey, if this is completely changing how you think about that little bite, hit like and subscribe. This is the stuff that separates owners who understand their cats from owners who just live with them. 4. They're telling you where it hurts. Have you ever been petting your cat and they're perfectly fine until you touch a specific spot and then they lick your hand once and bite? Most people think the cat just doesn't like being touched there, and sometimes that's true. But sometimes the reason your cat reacts to a specific area is because that area hurts. Cats don't tell you they're in pain. Not with meowing, not with crying, not with anything obvious. They hide it. They've been hiding it for thousands of years because showing pain in the wild gets you killed. But the lick to bite on a specific spot is one of the rare moments where the pain leaks through. A study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that cats with localized pain, whether from arthritis, soft tissue injury, or internal inflammation, often displayed a specific response pattern when the affected area was touched. The initial response was tolerance or mild grooming behavior, followed by a sudden defensive reaction such as biting, flinching, or hissing. That sequence, lick then bite, is your cat's body overriding their social behavior. The lick is their attempt to keep things calm. The bite is their nervous system saying that spot is not okay. Here's what to watch for. If your cat consistently reacts to the same area every time you touch it with that lick-bite pattern, that's not preference, that's pain, and they need you to pay attention. Map it. Notice which spot triggers the reaction. Is it their lower back, their hind legs, their belly on one side? That information could be the difference between catching something early and missing it until it's serious. Your cat just gave you a diagnosis, they just can't write it down. 5. They're overstimulated and their body switched before their brain did. Have you ever been getting a really good back massage and suddenly one spot made you flinch? Not because it was painful, but because the sensation just became too much too fast. That's exactly what happens to your cat. Cats have an incredibly dense concentration of nerve endings in their skin, way more than dogs, way more than most animals their size, and those nerve endings fatigue fast. What starts as a pleasant sensation builds and builds until the nervous system basically short circuits. The lick is your cat in the pleasure phase. Their brain is still processing the touch as good, but their nerve endings are already reaching capacity, and then they tip over. The sensation that felt good 2 seconds ago now feels like electricity, and the bite is the involuntary reaction to that flip. Veterinary neurologists have documented this phenomenon as a reflex-like response in cats with heightened tactile sensitivity. A 2019 study in the journal Animals found that cats who were petted for longer durations without breaks were significantly more likely to exhibit sudden defensive behaviors, even when the interaction started positively. The important thing to understand is that your cat didn't choose to bite you. Their body did it before their brain could catch up. And if you look closely in the moment right after the bite, you might see something that confirms this. A flicker of confusion in their eyes, a pause, sometimes even a lick right after the bite, like an apology they didn't know they needed to make.
They're not mean, they're overwhelmed. And the difference between those two things matters more than most people realize. 6. They're trying to play, but don't know how to do it gently. Here's one that breaks my heart a little. Some cats who do the lick then bite aren't overstimulated. They're not setting boundaries. They're not in pain. They're trying to play with you, but nobody ever taught them how. Kittens learn bite inhibition from their mother and their littermates. When a kitten bites too hard during play, the other kitten yelps and walks away. The mother swats them or stops interacting. Over time, the kitten learns how much pressure is too much. But cats who were separated from their mother too early, cats who were raised alone, or cats who grew up without other cats around them, often miss this lesson entirely. They never learned where the line is. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that kittens who were weaned before 8 weeks of age showed significantly higher rates of biting and aggression in adulthood compared to kittens who stayed with their mother and littermates longer. So when your cat licks you sweetly and then bites you harder than the moment called for, they might not be trying to hurt you. They might genuinely not know the difference between a love bite and an actual bite. That lick was real affection. The bite was supposed to be playful, but the calibration is off because no one ever taught them where gentle ends and painful begins. And the tragic part is that most owners punish this. They yell, they push the cat away, and the cat, who was trying to connect, learns that their version of love hurts people, so they stop trying. If this sounds like your cat, don't punish, redirect. Pull your hand away calmly when the bite comes. Offer a toy instead. Give them something they can bite without consequences. Over time, they'll learn the difference, not because you corrected them, but because you were patient enough to teach what nobody else did. 7. They're recreating the only love they've ever known. Remember earlier when I said sometimes the lick to bite has nothing to do with overstimulation, that it goes back thousands of years? This is what I was talking about, and once you hear this, you'll never look at that little bite the same way again. When kittens are with their mother, everything they know about love comes through physical contact. Their mother licks them to clean them. She licks them to stimulate their breathing after birth. She licks them to comfort them when they're cold or scared. And sometimes, when she needs to move them or discipline them, she uses her mouth. She bites the scruff of their neck, firmly but never to harm. To a kitten, licking and biting are not opposites. They're two halves of the same language. Both come from the mouth of the one being who made them feel safe in the world. And when your adult cat licks your hand and then gently bites you, they're speaking that original language, the first language they ever learned, the one that came before meowing, before purring, before any behavior they developed to live in a human world. They're recreating the only love they've ever known, and they're giving it to you. A study published in Developmental Psychobiology found that early maternal interactions in cats create lasting behavioral templates that persist into adulthood. Cats who received consistent maternal grooming, which always included both licking and gentle biting, were more likely to replicate those behaviors with bonded companions later in life. Your cat isn't confused. They're not broken. They're not being aggressive. They're reaching into the deepest, oldest part of themselves, the part that remembers being tiny and helpless and completely safe in someone's mouth. And they're offering that same feeling to you. The lick says, "I care about you." The bite says, "the way my mother cared about me." And the fact that your cat trusts you enough to speak that language, the one they've carried since birth, the one that most humans will never understand, should tell you everything you need to know about what you mean to them. That little bite was never a problem. It was a gift. You just didn't know how to unwrap it.